Hello and happy Friday. My name is Denise White. I am a licensed clinical counselor and I'm also a mindset expert of 23 years. And I'm here today to talk with you just briefly about high ticket sales. Now, if you've been online at any length, then you've probably seen a lot of advertisements and a lot of consultants and coaches who talk a lot about high ticket sales. So I wanted to just briefly touch on what's all the ruckus about and why would people even want to sell high ticket? Like what would be the benefit of that, right? So first of all, let me kind of define it for you. High ticket sales are any time that you have a service, a product, or an opportunity that, in my opinion, needs to be at least 5K and above. Okay, so anything above $5,000. And the biggest one of the primary differences with high ticket selling is that the person who's making the purchase wants the opportunity to sit down and get to know more about the product they're buying and the person they're buying it from. Okay, now you'll see a very, very different outcome when you're selling low to medium ticket items. So if you're selling, say, a $10 book, or you're selling a $99, online course, well, most of the time people don't feel the need or desire to get a hold of the person who created it and talk with them, right? Because in the scheme of things, if it's just not what they wanted, it's not the end of the world because it's not that big of a loss. But high ticket is a different story. So that's what I want to talk with you a little bit more about. If you think about your home or your car or your wedding band or private schooling or extended daycare, any of these things are high ticket items. And when you think of any of those purchases, don't you want to sit down with whomever you are is selling it and or promoting it and get a feel for what kind of person you're dealing with and what is the quality that you're looking at buying, right? So if you're having trouble making sales, one of the things that you really need to think about is the number one reason that people want to buy from you is purely really because they see the value that you place in your own life. They see the value that you place on your products. They see what the quality of person that you are. Well, the opposite is true. If you are not somebody who has a good reputation and it matters, if you're not somebody who has a reputation for standing behind their word, if you're not somebody who has a quality product or opportunity, well, people are not going to be as quick to trust you. And so while so many people tend to believe that the most difficult part of selling high ticket is getting people to spend the money, that is one of the lowest problems on the totem pole. And the reason is that usually people who can afford to purchase high ticket aren't looking to save a buck. They're usually entrepreneurs, high-end entrepreneurs who are looking to make their businesses easier and make their lives easier. And so if you come across with something that they need that will make their lives simpler and that is quality, then they don't typically care what the price tag is on it if it'll solve their problem. Okay, and that's what you have to keep in mind. Why do most people lower their price? Because these kinds of processes take time. So sometimes you go out and buy a car like that, but sometimes you research it and take a few months and kind of map out, what you want. Same thing with the home, right? And a lot of entrepreneurs get tired of the waiting or the patience that's required in making a high ticket sale. But the beauty of high ticket selling is that it's not all murky with upsells and lower ticket selling and all this crazy busyness that goes with selling, mass quantities of low ticket items. It literally is solving an issue for somebody who needs what you have and being compensated accordingly. You're happy, the client's happy, the solution, all right, you're able to fix somebody's problem that made their lives and their business easier, and you can't always put a price tag on that. So you have to work continually so that you're not tempted to go back to low ticket. You've got to work continually on being the best version of you. Sometimes it's an excuse when people flip out and go back to low ticket, and it's because they normally don't want to work on themselves. They don't want to take the time to develop and do the personal development that's required to sell high ticket, right? Because the positioning required and the level of ability to communicate effectively requires for some people more effort than others, okay? And not everybody wants to put that time in. So I believe that most of the time people can usually afford your offer. They'll say that they can't, and some genuinely can't, but most can. And I think about just this past week, I work with another, I don't work with her, I'm a friend with a coach who is our colleague with another coach who has a parenting coaching program. And there's one person in particular that just forever has followed this coach and just hung on her every word and absorbed all of the free value she could get, and just had voiced several times that she just wished so much she could join that program for her kids, that she wanted to join that parenting program, but she just couldn't afford it. And this coach felt so badly for her and just worried about it, and tried to brainstorm how could she lower the price so that she could finally get in and afford it. And then happened to scroll past her through her social media and see that last weekend she went and got a tattoo all over her back, right? Now, no judgment about tattoos from me, but I will tell you that a detailed tattoo all over your back, like the whole back, isn't cheap. And so it boils down to, by the time that woman likely purchased that, she could have enrolled in my colleague's coaching program. But you see, it boils down to priorities. And at the end of the day, as much as that woman voiced that she wanted to be part of that program, at the end of the day, that was not her number one priority, as evidenced by the big tattoo that she went and purchased over the weekend, right? So be careful to keep things in perspective when you hear I can't afford it. But here's the thing I want you to remember with high ticket. When people say that they can't afford it, you need to just move on. If they can't afford it, then they're not your clients. Because like I said, somebody who truly needs what you have, whose problem you can solve, can't afford it, and money is usually the last thing that they're worried about. All right? They're worried about getting something to work efficiently and effectively in their lives or in their business so that they can do better in their lives, right? Or in their work. All right. So growing a premium service business is simple, but it's not easy. And the reason that it's not easy is it takes massive action, and it takes a lot of courage. It takes a willingness to open and look at yourself and open yourself up to being vulnerable, to look at your weaknesses and areas where you need to improve. It requires absolute authenticity, because people who don't know you, and I mean every part of you, like really the vulnerable pieces of you, will be slow to trust you. So the more genuine and authentic that you can be, the better off that you're going to sell and the better that you're going to do in your business. All right. The unfortunate part is that most entrepreneurs operate from a very fear-centered or fear-based perspective. Okay, they're afraid of being rejected, and these mindset issues causes them to really miss out on really big opportunities. Okay, so people, because of the transition to high ticket, and it freaks them out. It really does. It freaks them out because they make it about, the money, and it's not about the money. It's about solving a really huge problem for somebody who really needs what you have. But they're uncomfortable. So many entrepreneurs are uncomfortable with that, okay? And they have all this self-doubt, and like I said, they have this fear, and they think, oh my gosh, like, I hope what if my solution doesn't work? And there's so much fear involved. And so the fear of failure and all of that prompts a lot of entrepreneurs to give up on themselves and go back to selling low ticket, which you and I both know you have to make up, you got to sell an awful lot of low ticket to make up for one, to be able to equate to one high ticket program or opportunity or product. Sorry, my dogs the wind is crazy, like tornado-y crazy, but there's no tornado warnings. I don't know if you guys can hear it. So anyway, it's just really important that you understand high ticket is rarely about the money. It's almost always about the quality of the person who is selling whatever product or opportunity. And that if you want to sell high ticket, the best gift that you can give to yourself is to work on your personal development so that you are positioned as a leader, so that fear leaves you, self-doubt is behind you, and you know what you're about, and you know what you're going after, and you know how to do it, right? Okay. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop it in the comments section. And if you saw this live, will you please comment 1? If you saw it replay, comment 2. I also have a free Facebook group called Unshakable Drive for Freedom. You'll see the link scrolling across to the page. Come over and join us. I'm all the time over there giving all kinds of free tips and free value, and I would love to have you, okay? Have a great Friday night, because it's Friday, huh? And I will talk to you soon.